Hello and welcome. Aquarister here, back with another video, and today brings us to Season 4, and more specifically, how I am going to be making my gold in Season 4 at the very start. Now, there's a couple parts of the trading post that we're going to be looking at today that I believe the prices will fluctuate in a way that would be beneficial for those to go out and farm specific stuff in order to sell. So that's what I'm going to be going over. This is how I'm going to be making my gold at the start, or at least trying to, and then from there you can kind of decide if it's worth it for you to go the same route that I will be going for Season 4 to try to make some gold just right off the bat. And as time goes on, that will definitely shift around as to how I will be making gold in the future. Before we fully get into today's video, I do just want to say if this video helps you out, or if you just like it, please drop it a like. It really helps me out a lot. And if you want to see more content like this, including streams, stuff like that, definitely subscribe to the channel so you are notified when those new videos or when those new streams do go live. We do still have our goal of trying to hit 1,000 subs on YouTube, and it'd be awesome if we could hit it by the end of the year. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I think we can do it. So I do appreciate all the support you guys have been showing me, especially on YouTube lately. And I am still streaming over on Twitch as well, so if you do prefer that platform, you can definitely check out the streams on either YouTube or Twitch from now on, as I am streaming on both. But let's get into today's video. All right, so to get us started, we are actually going to be talking about two different craft mods that are getting a little bit of a change in terms of their availability. And those two are going to be Adamant and Hardened Crystal. Adamant is for the health perk, and Hardened Crystal is for Enchanted Ward. Now, currently, both of those perks are fairly hard to acquire because it is very specific on how you get them. I believe they only drop from the aptitude chests, and so it does make it really, really difficult because I think it's even just the top tier aptitude chests. And that can make it really, really tricky because a lot of people are not able to farm that up themselves. But what they're doing, or what they have changed, is now you can actually pull them while doing like specific loot runs in specific territories. So with Adamant, it is now available in Elysian Wilds, Everfall, Great Cleave, and my two favorite being Reekwater and Brimstone. So that essentially means that when you go on, like, let's say a Scarab, Wall, any of those types of loot runs in Brimstone, you have a chance of pulling Adamant. And Adamant, let's pull it up on the trading post, currently is very, very high in price. It's about 13K, and that's actually lower than it's been in the past. Now, with that, this price is going to drop. So I do advise, if you have some currently, you may want to sell it sooner than later. But again, with higher supply being that it's going to be more available, this price is going to drop. Now, that is not a bad thing because those of us who need it and maybe don't want to go out and farm it could just purchase one and save some money. On the flip side, those who are purchasing them are going to see the lower prices, want to buy them, and then those who are out farming are going to make more money just because they're able to pull those extra special mods now. So we'll see what the drop rate is like with some of these mods, but for Adamant, I'll definitely be farming Reekwater and Brimstone, which I do have a Reekwater loot run that I'm going to probably redo a video on. I've done one way in the past. It was actually my very first YouTube video. I think it's time to create another Reekwater run so you guys can see the specific route that I'm doing, since I have changed up slightly since that video. And then Brimstone, I'll just continue to do my elite runs there. I'll be doing my, various Scarab runs, stuff like that. So definitely really, really good option to try to make a little extra money is just farming those specific territories for that mod. The other one, being Hardened Crystal for Enchanted Ward, is now available in Cutlass Keys, Weaver's Fen, Shattered Mountain, and Restless Shore. And for this one, it's not worth quite as much, but I'll show you. And this is currently in Season 3. These prices will hopefully go down as we get into Season 4 further down the road, as people are farming up more of these craft mods. Currently in Season 3, we're looking at 5K. So again, that is going to drop, making it much better for those who are just trying to maybe get their gear sorted out and they don't want to necessarily go out and farm all of that stuff. So it's going to be a really good option for those who want to purchase, and another good option for those who want to sell, being that you can actually go out and farm them. Now, again, price will drop, so you're going to get a little less, but the supply is going to be higher. So for those, I will be farming Shattered Mountain. I do have another solo non-elite run in Shattered Mountain that I'm also going to do a video on that I'm very excited to show you guys. I have all these loot runs, and I just want to start getting the videos out so you guys can go out and start running them yourselves, especially with some of these changes to the loot. All right, so those are the two craft mods that I will be focusing at the start because, again, they are not currently that easily available, but they will be down the road. And Reekwater, Brimstone, really easy loot runs to go get. So we'll see how good the drop rate is. There's a chance that the market absolutely tanks, but I do think it's worth to farm them. If it tanks, hold on to those craft mods because they are still very valuable for a lot of us. All right, so on to the next part of what I will be searching for on the trading post. And essentially, the way I'm looking at it is we're looking at rune glass. Now, not necessarily crafting the rune glass itself, but every single thing that goes into rune glass, right? So let's just look at a rune glass. We'll just pick one randomly, okay? So we have a rune glass of electrified malachite. Doesn't matter what rune glass, we're just using it as an example. So let's first look at what goes into creating the rune glass itself. So obviously you need the case, and then you need the cut pristine malachite, pure solvent gold ingot. These two, the pure solvent gold ingot, are not going to be worth all that much. The price is not going to go up or down a whole lot on either one. Gold might go up a little bit, who knows? But in general, gold's not usually that expensive. But what we are going to be looking at are the malachites, or the gems in general, and the cases. So when we look at the gems, let's click into that. So what goes into cutting a gem? What goes into it is the raw gem itself, a quintessence or 3 quintessence, and the solvent in order to create it. So what you can see is with the new addition of artifacts and all of that, because there's new artifacts, there's a change to all of the elemental gems and stuff like that, including some of the other gems also got reworked. Pretty much everything got reworked in terms of gems. So a lot of people are going to be replacing their rune glass and replacing their gems to try to mess around with the new ones. So I do believe that a lot of these gems will go up in price. And when the gems start to go up in price, that means that the materials that go into them are going up in price. So definitely you're going to want to look into farming moats, cutting the gems potentially, or just keeping them. You might want to sell the raw gems. We're going to keep an eye on the market and see what happens and see where the most value is, but definitely check your individual server, because I'm on Marama and it could be very different from somewhere else, especially if you're in a different region or anything like that. We do see some pretty big price fluctuations across different servers. So that is just the gem side of it, right? So gems in general, more than likely are going to go up and down in price just because of the fact of people are testing stuff, trying out the new gem system, and all of that. And then obviously what goes into those gems being the quintessence. So that's kind of the first part. Next, we're going to go back to this, make it easy. Next, let's look at the case. All right. So obviously every single rune glass is going to be slightly different in terms of what glyphs are going to be going into those rune glasses. So what I do recommend, and just as an example, what I recommend is go to the resource tab, and we'll actually do this all the way from bottom up. So resources, go to raw resources and click on stones. From here, it's going to pull up all of your glyph stones that are available. On your server, what I recommend you doing is once season 4 is going here and people are kind of getting into it, or even just today, right from the start, when you're watching this video, if you're logged in, go into the trading posts and go through each of these glyphs and see where the most value is on your server. A lot of times water glyphs are going to be some of the most expensive because they're a pain to go on farm, and a lot of people do like to use the ice rune glass. So as you go through these, you're going to see that some of them are going to be higher in price, some are lower. Like above glyphs are always going to be cheap because you pull so many of them out of the wall elite area. So that's definitely something to think about in terms of like what you have and what you're hoarding and all that. But I do recommend going through all of these and just seeing what your server is doing. I do this every so often, so then I get a good idea of where is the price range at on that particular glyph. So like, let's say water glyphs. If I see these selling for 300, I'm selling every single one that I own. Now that is still a risk. There's a chance the price goes up, but I can go out and farm more. If that price is going up, I'm going to go farm more. Chances are, if the price is going up, you're going to run into a lot more people that are out there farming it, and then the market will potentially get flooded. Doesn't happen all the time, but I have seen it happen in the past with like mountain glyphs, occasionally with water glyphs, but mountain glyphs way, a long time ago, you saw that a lot. People would go there and just farm up mass amounts. The market would drop, and then once the market would drop, I would be going out and farming them, and I would just hoard them while the market was dropping. right? And then once the market would drop, it'd start going back up because the supply was not there. And then I would have the supply at the top. So it just kind of depends, but check your server. Like I said, if you just go to those stones under raw resources, you can check each of the glyphs, figure out where they are, which ones you need to go out and farm. You might even have a bunch of them and they might be worth a lot. So definitely check there. All right. So that is the glyph side of it. Let's go back to the case. Now, the other 3 items that go into your rune glass. These items almost always sell. I never have a problem selling charged sand, sulfur, or ancient globs. I don't have a problem selling the sulfur chunks or the sands or the the sandstone block. I rarely will ever have any of those not sell. So what I do recommend you doing is going out and glob farming. Glob farming is really, really easy. There's a lot of different routes you can go. There's different areas. I am going to post in the description below my old glob farming video. It is an older video, so definitely check it out. It's still relevant to today in terms of where I'm going, but it is an older video, so keep that in mind. But again, it is still relevant to farming globs. It is still the same route that I am running today. And just as an example, again, this is season 3 that we're looking at for prices. We're looking at 160, which again is a little bit on the lower end, I would say, or maybe a little average for where it's at. Sometimes it'll drop a little lower, sometimes it'll be a little bit higher, but really, really easy money, especially if you don't care about hoarding them for your own rune glass. So globs, I do think will go up in price. Again, more people running rune glass means more globs being used. Every single rune glass is 3 globs per rune glass. So looking at this, that's $450 that someone will be investing in order to make 1 rune glass. And let's say they do it on 2 weapons. There, you're up to 900 gold for someone to just get, for one person to get just 2 of their weapons set up. So again, with the addition of more artifacts, the addition or the change of the gems, people will be shifting some of their rune glass around. So very good chance that these globs start going up in price initially. Things will balance out over time as people are getting more set with their builds, but initially there's a very high chance that some of these prices do go up. And same thing for sulfur and charged sand, but what I'm going to say for sulfur and charged sand is check your individual server. So if we look at 1 sulfur, it is $21. If we look at the sulfur chunks, it is $7.70. In this scenario, I would personally sell the raw sulfur because I'm going to guarantee that I'm getting more essentially per sulfur if I do it this way. Now, if you have let's say you have 500 plus sulfur chunks, then I would maybe consider refining it because the amount of excess that you're going to get, because you'll get a bunch of extra sulfur, may make it worth it for you to then sell the sulfur as is. But in general, if there's a pretty big gap in terms of the raw resource to if you were to refine it, then I'll sell the raw. It's a lot easier. You can kind of burn through it. But if you are trying to get trade skills up like that, then maybe it's still worth it to refine it for you. You might lose out on a little gold, but you are getting more XP. So it really comes down to you and how you want to go about it in terms of refining it or selling raw. $22 on the charged sand. Again, season 3 prices. And then with the sandstone block, you're looking at $746. So again, I would sell the raw sandstone block personally, just because it is a guarantee. But again, if I had 1100, I would probably turn that into the charged sand and either sit on it for a bit, or I would end up selling it refined. So that is what we're looking at though, in terms of what I'm looking at for the trading post, because again, the gem changes are going to change a lot. A lot of people, myself included, will probably be testing out different gems. Sometimes you just don't want to take the time to go and cut your own, so you just go and buy a few. Again, and then also with the mutated dungeons, obviously people will be buying the elemental stuff for those as well still. So there's a lot to look into for the trading post and all that at the start of a new season, but this is where my focus will be. Right in the rune glass side of things, and again, I'll be checking the glyph prices to see where my focus will go into glyphs and see where the meta's shifting. If it goes more towards the electric side, the glyph farming isn't as great because people have so many of those specific glyphs. But if it goes more towards ice or something where water glyphs are more sought after, then you'll see the price of those water glyphs go up significantly more than likely. It also depends on how many people are out there hoarding these items for themselves, because I know I like to hoard a lot of stuff as well, and sometimes I'll just go and sell it, sometimes I'll go and craft it. It just kind of depends on what's happening. So those are the two different areas though of the trading post that I will be focusing at the start. That's where I'm going to try to be making some gold at least and see what we can do. I have been farming up some globs, some glyphs here and there. I probably didn't do as much as I should, but some of those I'll also be using for my own rune glass. So it's never a bad thing to have a little extra of some of those. Because I definitely do want to test out a few new builds, the new artifacts, stuff like that. It'll be a really good time as we get deeper into Season 4 especially. All right, that is going to do it for today's video. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I know that making gold can be a little overwhelming for some people, especially at the change of a season. They don't know what all is changing within the season maybe. They didn't look at the patch notes as much. You might be a more casual player, but that is what I am here for. I am here to try to make your gold making and your experience in New World as easy and as fun as possible, because in the end, you just have to have fun with the games. That is what's most important. So in any way that I can help you guys have more fun in the game, in terms of what I can teach you or show you or help you out with, definitely let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear it. Any ideas that you would like to see a video on that maybe you have a tough time finding information on. I really just want to help the community out and really help, especially the new players or the more casual players, still be able to keep up both gear score and money-wise with the players who are playing significantly more. But that is going to do it for today's video. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.